Hi everybody, welcome back to the Knit Monkey podcast. This is yet again the podcast you didn't know you needed, and most shockingly, when I sat down to work everything out today is Thursday. It's the 7th of December, somewhere around there. I suddenly realised it had been 6 months. 6 months since I have sat in front of a camera. So, there is plenty to catch up on. I probably won't catch up on it, so you have to excuse me if I ramble a little bit from here on in. So, first things first, what has changed? Well, we have a new kind of comfy seaty place. This is my new sofa, which is lovely and comfy. And I didn't know really how to start the podcast when it first came out, so I nearly pulled do I go casual? Am I scrunched up? Paint me like your French knit monkeys? What look did I go for? So this is my new sofa. This new sofa lives in my new house. Last time I was in temporary. This is it. You can't really see much of it. At some point I will kind of show you around, but obviously you guys know what it's like when you're building a house from scratch. Not building a house from scratch, but obviously the contents, you kind of are limited as to what you got. So kind of like upstairs there's bits of furniture everywhere. So when it's a bit more plush, I'll take you on a little tour. It'll be lovely, but it's still in Exeter, right on the top end now. In fact, weirdly, of all the places to pick, it is about 2 minutes walk from work, which obviously makes life a lot easier in that respect. And also, when I actually inquired about the place, I suddenly realised it's actually where the girl's godfather lives. How close it was, I didn't really know until I'd moved in, and it's like 4 doors away, so it's amazing. So he can come and go as he pleases, so it's nice to be surrounded by that kind of thing as well. And I've got some family, my aunt and uncle live up the road as well. You have to excuse me if I look a bit spun out, because obviously I'm using the webcam on the laptop and everything's backwards, so very, very strange. I'm hoping I can sort that out, but hey, what can you do? So if I do hold up any writing, you may find it's backwards. So that's the first big thing. Secondly, work is work is work is work. Yeah, you understand that. It has been mental for the last few months. I've been pretty much every single site in our region, one way or another. Still spend loads of time in Bournemouth, although that's kind of come to an end now, which is great because it's a heck of a journey to get there. Spent some time in Southampton. Plenty of time in Avonmouth, which is the Bristol area. Some time in Swindon, some time in Droitwich. Gets around. But no, now firmly back based in Exeter for a while. Obviously it's peak time, coming up to Christmas, Black Friday, all that stuff has been and gone, and yet somehow we're still standing. I'm probably a little greyer than I was before it all started, because it has been a little chaotic. But with all the travelling, I'm afraid certain things have gone by the wayside. We have had a loss. A fairly tragic loss, to be honest. Now, when I last went up to Bournemouth, it's a 4-hour journey. I left in the morning at 6:30. I then went to Bournemouth, did some meetings, did some time on site with the rep up there. It was all great. Afterwards, finished quite early, went and grabbed some food, went back to the train, got back on the train, got socks out, knitting them as you do. I'm not showing them till you're finished, am I? No, because if anyone rides on Southwest trains anywhere between Exeter or further down and kind of London area, if you could find my pig in socks, I'd be very happy, because I got off the train at St David, which is the local station here. stuck the bag, the one from Mina, in my case and walked off the train. Brilliant. Unfortunately, what I didn't do is put the pig in socks back in them. So somewhere along the line, someone has a sock and a half. What good that'll do unless you're a pirate? Who knows? It is the Southwest. So that was the first of the nightmares. The second of the nightmares, I have to the side here the remainder of the stash. When I moved, picked the boxes up, there was 2 full solid boxes full of stash. Big boxes. Unfortunately, somewhere along the line, the place I'm staying at has a couple of damp problems, which, it's only surface. However, it seems to be the perfect breeding ground for moths. So one of the boxes, which had a lot of the more substantial yarn, a lot of the better quality yarn, decimated. Absolutely full to the brim of the little blighters. So it just got binned before I even moved. So, I lost quite a bit of stuff in the move there. So, so it's all been fun. So, knitting related disasters obviously are going to be a problem. Now, I do, since then, I have a couple of projects on the go. I can only show you one of them. I'm afraid one of them is a present, and that person will undoubtedly watch this podcast, so I need to not show you. However, I'll show you the one I am doing, and this is actually for a friend's daughter. She is actually about the same age as Kim, my eldest. And I was talking to her mum the other day, and she said, we'd like to get something quirky for Christmas. Do you fancy making her something? And I said, well, I'll just do it anyway. Don't worry about that. So I still had all this, the Azteca, James Hughes Brett Azteca Aaron, which I've ripped the label in half for the most useful thing ever. This is the acrylic alpaca mix, 90% acrylic, 10% alpaca. Very strange, very weird mix, but nice and soft. And being for a teenage girl, it became apparent that there's only one pattern they can really do. So I went back to the well. I went back to my favourite, because it is going to be like a little quick make. It's really partially for this and partially to get me back into knitting properly. I mean, I didn't knit really for 4 months, and it's do something complicated, not complicated by way, but obviously technique wise, because it's DPNs. But I've gone back to my favourite pattern, which is the Susan Claudino Voodoo You Love Me, because it is, quite frankly, the best pattern in the world ever. And for those of you who don't know what it looks like, let's see if we can get this to come out. There's the little fella. He is amazing. I mean, he is just genius. I've made probably 7 or 8 of them now, I think. And this is the Azteca. It's in kind of a light grey colour. She is not a girly girl. That is not coming out. In fact, that just looks kind of like whitey steely. It is, let's see if you want to go and look it up for the proper colour. It is shade AL3. Whatever you want to call that. It's kind of a greyish, slightly motley effect, but it's cool. Yeah, I really liked it anyway. I was going to use it for something, and I probably will use it for something afterwards, but I thought, squeeze off a little voodoo, get myself back in the rhythm of it. What else has been happening really with regards to life in the last few months? There's been, weirdly, for the first time in a long time, a great amount of live music in my life. I mean, I've been to 5 gigs in the last few months. None of them huge ones, but 2 of them fairly epic, which I will relay to you as part of bits and pieces throughout this episode. And then we're going to have a couple of tunes from those very shows, just so you can get a feel of the random stuff that I've been getting into now. I've always said to everyone who speaks, massive punk fan, let's get into that kind of stuff. I also have another love, which I haven't talked about that much, but it's there. But I'll save that for last, because you always save the big guns for the end. But back in November, so we're talking 5 weeks ago now, I think, something like that, there was a thing in Exeter that I'd heard of, but didn't quite know what it was. No, it was called The Lost Weekends. Okay, and the only way to describe it is that's exactly what it is. It's a music festival that takes place in Exeter, in and around, and without disrupting the rest of Exeter's life. It's a very, very strange setup. What effectively it is you buy a wristband that you wear for the whole weekend. It starts on the Friday and goes through to Sunday night. And as part of that, you get free entry to a number of venues, a number of art exhibits, poetry readings, everything all around the city. But it's all kind of fairly central. So we have the Exeter Phoenix, which is our sort of local arts centre. We have the Cavern, which is a music venue that's underground, has been the mainstay of independent music in Exeter for as long as I can remember. In fact, when the guy bought it used to be a place called Hop and Grapes originally. It was changed over to the Cavern, and it never kind of looked back. And it's one of those places that they have had epic names. I mean, I went to see Muse there. It was their first ever gig, like I've said previously to people. Chris was actually in my A-level English group before they'd obviously got signed, so they were in the Battle of the Bands there. Coldplay played there. Ed Sheeran played there apparently. In fact, just making sure I'm holding the right finger up. In fact, from one of his anecdotal stories that obviously Ed Sheeran tells, it was actually his least favourite gig he's ever had because he turned up and no one went, because no one knew who he was. I saw Joe Strummer there. In fact, it was completely epic. Joe Strummer all set up to play on stage, and there was a power cut, a fairly major power cut as well. So instead of just binning the idea and going, nope, that's it, done, stomping off, Joe picked up his guitar, a battery-powered amp, and his percussionist had a pair of like weird bongo-y things, not bongos because there was more than 2 of them, strange, and they went and sat up in the middle of the street above, just on the pavement, and just played his entire set, which was just legendary. So yeah, so there's Cavern, so I would digress from there. The local art galleries as well, and a place that kind of drew a fairly famous American podcaster to visit us a few years ago. They were putting on random gigs in Exeter Cathedral, and it was Exeter Cathedral that actually drew Ryan, who is Tracy from the 2 Lit Chicks husband, to come and visit us while they were over for a weekend. But the weirdest setup in the world. I mean, I understand people do gigs in cathedrals, but I've never seen anything like this. Exeter Cathedral has always been kind of stuffy. We are a cathedral. We are very, very devout. We do all this stuff. None of this. What they literally did was strip all the pews out for the entire cathedral, and then stuck a bar in the corner. You can't get more surreal than that. And they put on just the quirkiest band. It's a band that I'd heard the name of, and a friend had sort of just said, you've got to go and watch these people. You really have to, because they're amazing. So, sorry, cool. On the strength of that, a couple of us got tickets. We went to last weekend, drifted into the cathedral on Saturday night, and playing were the most unusual band that I've come across in ages. For those of you in America, I don't know if you call them the same thing, but over here, back in the days before proper telly, back in the days before news was widely available, before the internet and general channels, they used to do something called public information films. Now, they were normally done by the BBC or a company called Public Service Broadcasting. Now, it would be newsreels, effectively like newsreels you got during the war. It would be background information films that would be shown to people about the textile industry, or about coal mining, or the presidential election, or anything that was of real relevance to the world. Now, three crazy guys decided they would take these public information films and they would use them as the only vocals in music. But not being said to, hey, let's make it into a dance thing, or let's make it into a rock background. They decided they would sit down and do, quite frankly, whatever the heck they liked. So their repertoire goes from heavy rock music right through to hardcore drum and bass, with some orchestral stuff, some jazz stuff in the middle, and to watch this band was just unbelievable. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a track, because there's no way I can convey just how strange and awesome the band are without showing you. So, I picked a track that relates to an event that everyone will understand. If I showed you something about the Welsh coal miners, for example, which they have done some on, my American brethren would tune out. They've got no frame of reference. So, I've gone back to a track from an album called The Race for Space. And this is a track using the vocals from the moon landing. Okay, now that sounds very strange. The tune is pretty awesome. So I will cut here and I will leave you for a few minutes to listen to Public Service Broadcasting with a tune called Go. You have it, the epicness that is Public Service Broadcasting. That was obviously a live version from Brixton 2015. Listen on vinyl, listen to them live are two separate entities. The vinyl version is amazing, however, live always will be a preference, I think, for that. Yeah, so they're pretty epic. They have 4 albums out now, and they're all kind of that standard. It's one of those things that makes people look and go, what did I just hear? What was I listening to? I do it at work quite a lot, really. I Bluetooth into the speaker and play random stuff, and that's one of my songs of choice. So there you go, so it's been shared. Now, let's go on to it. I mean, it's been 6 months, right? There has been a lot of epic geekery in the last 6 months. So we will go through. I'll talk, you listen, and you can feedback. Obviously not now, but in the comments below, or in the Rav group. You do what you like. It's fine, but let's make some points about some stuff that has come up in the last 6 months. Okay, I've done bits on Instagram and stuff, but let's just get it out there. Firstly, Jodie Whittaker, Doctor Who. Who cares? Really. in the past, I have been one of those avid anti-female Doctor people. It's not the sexist thing for anyone jumps up and boots me in the head, or, well, you have to buy a plane ticket, some of you. It has always just been a traditionalist. Yeah, but Jodie Whittaker, she's awesome. She's really cool. I have one concern, and it's not even about her, really. Bradley Walsh. Really? What can you say? No, it's fine. It's good. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what happens at Christmas with the regeneration. Yeah, it'll be cool. It's still Doctor Who. It always will be Doctor Who. I'll stop watching it when the standard of the writing goes down. That's about the only thing that will get rid of it. So there you go. They have my official line on it. Quite frankly, who cares? Right. Secondly, let's start with the obvious. Thor Ragnarok. Right. There's nothing I can say. Absolutely stonking. Still not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, but you have to go a long way to get that far. However, just epic. Really, really good. You know, the best Thor film by far. Chris Hemsworth is just a man who makes every single man on this planet feel a little bit feminine. Alright, the guy's too good looking, too well built, too funny, too charismatic, and when you see him interviewed, he's really funny, self-deprecating. What can you do? Yeah, there are guys like this, but yeah, it's epic, which obviously leads straight on now. We have Black Panther, and then we have Infinity War. Infinity War's first trailer's come out. It looks good. It really does, apart from the fact the new look for Thanos makes him look like one of rubbers on the end of pencils. Yeah, an eraser for the Americans. A rubber on the end of a pencil. It's a very strange look. He's too pink. He looks like a boiled lobster. Not much I can say to that, really. Other than that, yeah, let's get some death in. We know there's going to be some death. Loads of people come out of the contracts. We can start taking odds. Part of my serious money's on Tony. Steve, obviously, you know, he's gone now. He's no longer Captain America. Might as well dispatch him in the fourth film. Most of it will come up, and let's just see what happens with Black Panther, because it looks amazing. Now, the other exciting news on that as well is this weird negotiation thing that's going on with Marvel and Sony, where sorry, not Marvel and Sony, Marvel and Fox, where Disney are looking to buy parts of 20th Century Fox. Part of 20th Century Fox itself and a few extra bits and pieces, which means that Disney will own everything in the entire world. It also means that they will take back control of the X-Men. They will take back control of the Fantastic Four. So maybe we might actually get a decent Fantastic Four film. Yeah, from now. It also does mean they'll get control of Deadpool, which concerns me slightly. But let's hope they actually stick to what it is. Yeah, they just let them have creative freedom and go off in the way. They let Netflix do it, so just let them carry on. The Punisher is out. It's been out. I've now caught up with everything right the way through. All the Netflix series right up to the Punisher, and I should love the Punisher. The Punisher was a great staple of my comic childhood. A great character. I don't think the show should go too far. I don't think the show should do more than another series before they cut it, because I don't want it to become one-dimensional, nor do I want it to become bogged down in too much of the rubbish that goes around it. So, yeah, it's good. It's not brilliant. It's also not as violent as I thought it was going to be, which is actually really, really good. I thought they should push it too far. You know, let's see how far they can push it. But it ain't Game of Thrones. It's a guy with guns. So let's just leave it at that. And then the big one, What can we say? I need to weigh in on the largest movie debate of the year. There's a small film coming out in, what is it now, 8 days, 9 days now? Star Wars The Last Jedi? We've all theorised. We've all wondered. The Last Jedi, singular or plural. Who is the Last Jedi? How much screen time will delectable Daisy Ridley get, because the woman is stunning. There's no way around it. Will we actually get to see Prince William and Prince Harry, or if they cut that scene, or if they put it back in? What the heck have they done with it? And finally, the most important thing, the porgs. What can you say? Don't Jar Jar them, I'll be happy. Yeah, it's quite weird. I talk like I got gravitas with Disney and with Lucasfilm to say, great, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. But no, I can't see how it's going to go wrong. I'll tell you when I've watched it whether it's gone wrong, but at the moment I can't see how it's gone wrong. I'm also one of those people, I've booked tickets fairly early on the showing. I'm taking Kim to watch it. It's kind of a tradition now. Well, that's we go and watch random films together. I ain't going to spoiler it for you. Go and watch it. Make up your own mind. I'll give you my advice. You can all tell me I'm wrong. However, after the episode 1 incident, which I don't know, have I regaled you with the episode 1 incident? No? Okay, I don't know, maybe. I know I've said it on the VKM. Well, I've said it on the podcast, is another thing. Right, okay, here is the way my mind works. Now, some of you probably realise that I'm not only completely unusual, but I'm also passionately geeky. Yeah, I love what I love, and I hate what I hate. It's as simple as that. Stuff does grow on me from time to time, but it takes a lot of work. One thing that's never changed is my hatred of parts of episode 1. Okay, yeah, it's there. It's not a contentious issue. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people in the machete version of watching Star Wars films, you don't even watch episode 1 because it's pointless. However, I made the mistake of going to a showing, I think it was 2 days after it opened, and we went en masse. I mean, there were loads of us. I think it was 15 of us went together to watch it. And we sat in the Odeon Exeter. Ooh, I haven't been to the Odeon in years. We sat and watched it, and we all came out, and everyone's chatting. Yeah. So we walked down the road, and we go to the corner from the cinema, and there is a pub called the Duke of York, right? I've been in there like once since this, probably because I'm humiliated, but and got a pint and sat down, and we're like chatting and stuff, and then my brother, in his ultimate wisdom, looked over the table, and it was like Solo and Greedo. I'm not telling you which one was which, but my brother's a bit green and he's got a weird mouth. Now, like the whole place seemed to fall into silence as he looked over the table and went, "You've been really quiet, Dave. What did you think?" The next sentence started with the word, "well," and then it was less of a sentence and more of a complete tirade of abuse, criticism, everything. Now, the worst thing is I couldn't even blame it on the fact I was drunk, because I was about this far down my first pint. But it culminated with me turning around to two guys at the bar who actually mentioned, while obviously I'm ranting obviously quite loudly about this, that they were going to see it the following night, and me turning around and pointing at them and just going, "Don't do it, just get your beeping money back," right? That's what I'm like, sadly, which is why no one can go to the cinema with me, because not only that, I'm also a ridiculous smart ass. The only other, I'm just confessing that I'm rambling. I've got completely sidetracked, but you know what? I don't care, and you don't care. You just listen to me ramble on for ages because, quite frankly, you need to know what's coming next. Anyway, many years ago, in a brief gap between relationships, I was seeing a German girl called Julie. Then we decided to go out and we go to the cinema. So the film that we decided to go and see was The Sixth Sense. Now that's fine. You know, it's a great film. I really liked it. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm a complete smart ass. So about 15 minutes in, the little knit monkey brain starts cogs turning, and then light bulb. If anyone's not seen it, or anyone has an interest in seeing it, or anyone who has not heard about it but thinks, I've heard it's a good film, I want to watch it, you might want to mute me now. Fair warning, spoilers ahead if you haven't seen it. About 15 minutes in, turn around to Julie and say, it's obvious he's already dead. What I failed to realise is about 15.5 minutes in, the entire film goes silent. You could have heard a pin drop, except for this butthead who very loudly announces that the main character and the twist we were all expecting from one of M. Night Shyamalan's films is that he was dead. And it carries across the whole cinema. It was like the BS version of Tumbleweeds. Complete silence and glaring. And Sixth Sense came out in the time before internet spoilers were a thing. So I slunk down on my chair and rode out the storm. And then when the twist happened, there may as well have been pitchforks and torches. I felt horrible. So I actually stopped doing it. However, I can't stop doing it. I just can't. Things frustrate me so much. Plot holes, stupidity in films. Unless a film is intentionally stupid, it should not be stupid. Yeah? Inception is another one, right, which is mind-numbingly stupid. Okay. He's going, this is going to go on for ages. This is going to go on. Right, okay, I'm just going to go now. I'm going to go. I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. People just ignore me or fast forward. I'll put a comment up here when I stop ranting. Inception is another one, right? The whole idea is DiCaprio cannot go into the US. Okay? However, if he does this particular job, he has the connections to smuggle, to smuggle him in so he can see his children, right? That's the main crux of the matter, okay? If he's got that many connections, why doesn't someone just get the freaking kids and bring them over? Could save himself all that trouble. Just saying. Right, I think I've finished now. On that note, yeah, what can we do? I can't pass judgment on Justice League because I haven't been to watch it, because I can't actually bring myself to go to the cinema and watch it. Okay, there are a number of reasons for this. One, Wonder Woman was so good. It was a very good film. Okay. And I would love to have watched Wonder Woman as a solo film without being connected to anything, because it was great. However, Wonder Woman has been tarnished by the film that came before it, and the film that apparently comes after it. I'd rather keep it insular. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, Batman vs Superman doesn't exist at all. I just can't. And write-ups, I do like to make up my own mind about stuff, I will watch at some point on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever whenever it comes out, but I cannot go and watch a car crash film at the cinema intentionally. Unless it's an intentional car crash film or a film about car crashes. Rush, I'm looking at you. You can do it, but I don't know. There's a certain level that I can bring myself to, and Justice League appears to not be it. Which also brings me back to this. Right, okay, here we go on another rant again, right? Okay, sexualization, yeah? When the big criticism of Wonder Woman came out is the fact that she was fairly sexy. She's, Gal Gadot is an attractive woman, a very comely wench. Yeah, let's just get that out of the way before I go any further on this, right? So, all I hear everywhere is, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, you only went to see it because of this, she's too sexy, she's too this, she's too that. However, all the women sleazing over Jason Momoa, topless, pot, kettle. But yes, so I can't go and watch Justice League. I'd love to. Ezra Miller seems pretty charming as the Flash. However, Grant Gustin is the Flash. Yeah, let's just leave it at that, please. Jason Momoa, I love to bits. I think he's amazing. Scary as hell, but amazing. Gal Gadot, I think, is great. Henry Cavill could have been an amazing Superman. However, the material he's been given is terrible, and Ben Affleck is horrible as Batman. So there you go. However, according to internet rumours, I really don't think Jake Gyllenhaal will be any better. Just saying. Right, okay, so where do we go? I've geeked out. I've talked a bit about knitting. I've kind of caught you up on what's been going on. Two things. One is a bit fun. I was having a discussion with another podcaster, someone I've known for quite some time now. And I was trying to think of something to do because I don't knit enough. I don't have the time to. But I still want to podcast, and I still want to knit, and I still want to do all these different bits and pieces. So I want to shift the focus slightly on some of it. Do some new bits and pieces, bring some new voices in and all this sort of thing. And the one thing I'm trying to do is, as I said, every single episode there has been some form of tunage. Yeah, at different levels. It doesn't matter what it is. Where there's a theme. This week's is just stuff I've seen. We had the Bournemouth connection. We had the 40th anniversary of God Save the Queen. So what the idea has been floating out, and whether it comes in the next episode or a couple of episodes time, the loosest term I have for it now is what's called an album amnesty. Okay. Now the idea behind this is, I have a very wide and eclectic taste of music, and a lot of the stuff I have listened to in the past and loved dearly, a lot of people won't have heard because obscure 90s British indie is not a big thing in America, for example, or it's not a big thing with the new generation. When we say the new generation, I've had so many conversations this week where I suddenly realised just how much older than everyone else I am, the people I deal with, the people who work for me. Perfect example for all you British people here of my age, so we'll say between 35 and 45. There was a conversation crept up between three security guards, and one of them called me over and said, "Oh yeah, you remember Eurotrash, don't you?" And I went, "Yeah, Anton Lecal. Yeah, it was great. This is what it's about." And one of the security guards said, "What's Eurotrash?" And I just looked at him and said, "Oh, it's the show with Lecal and the weird random Scandinavian nudity and bizarre fetish stuff. That." And he looked completely blank. I went, "How old are you?" He went, 21. I just put my hands up in the air and started weeping. You know, this is where it's coming from. It's scary. Incidentally, I'm 42 in March. So, yeah, that's how old I am, for those of you who don't know that much about me. So, the album amnesty is quite simple. The idea is that I get together with someone. It doesn't matter whether it's a podcast, it doesn't matter if it's one with you, it doesn't matter if it's just someone who starts chatting to me on social media, anyone. It doesn't need to be anyone connected. But we both effectively walk in and put an album on the table. Okay, now the idea is that it's hopefully going to be an album the other person hasn't heard. Any genre, any scope, any artist. Okay, and the idea is you take it away, you listen to it, and then you come back. And actually, rather than going, I really don't want to listen to that because it's by Justin Bieber, or it's Beyonce's new album, or it's, the greatest hits of Shakira, the single A-side that it's going to be. Whatever it is, you take away, you listen to it, and you listen to it properly. And then actually come back and review the thing. Let people know exactly what you think. I mean, it's to try and get people to think outside the box with the musical taste. And I know people are eclectic out there. Some people are very set in their ways. Yeah, some people are metalheads and that's all they ever will be. However, somewhere there's always a deep, dark musical secret. Yeah, even the most hardened metalhead, even the biggest drum and basser, even the biggest raver, everyone knows the words to Barbie Girl. Yeah, there is that deep, dark secret. In fact, it started in me thinking a few weeks ago about this and about doing this, and it all stems from a friend of mine from many years ago called Mark, who I did mention on F&I many years ago. He contracted MS and very sadly passed away about 5 years ago now. Now he was a hard metalhead. He was Machine Head, Nine Inch Nails, Iron Maiden, proper. Let's get in there and shake our heads around. However, it wasn't until his funeral that I discovered that he had a secret love for Kylie Minogue. Like a proper, not a sleazy fancying Kylie Minogue, but actually owned all her albums. And one of them was played at his funeral, and it was one of those moments that I just couldn't stop laughing because it just seemed so out of character. But that's what it's about, yeah. So, suggestion of an album, I suggest an album back. We exchange, write, record, vocal, message, anything, a review on it, and we'll go through it in the podcast a couple of episodes later. But yeah, so that's a new idea tossing around. So if anybody fancies it, or is interested in it, just let me know. If not, then I kind of won't do it. And lastly, let's go to the second full-on musical gig I went to this year. Now, like I said, I have a love. Yeah. Everyone loves music. They were brought up and they have a fondness for it. Now, a lot of people then will occasionally hear it and go, I remember this is a tune. No matter what it is, whether it was your parents, whether it was, family members, friends, anything like that, or something you just heard on the radio and you loved. There are a few tracks like that from my past that I was never directly introduced to. I just fell in love with, for example, Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division. What a great song. Not something that anybody I was around ever was into. However, there is these two bands, so you can get two songs in quick succession here. I was brought up in an unusual musical way. I hated all the music my parents listened to. Oh my word, that I hated. Well, I didn't hate everything. One side was country and western, Foster and Allen and all that stuff, and I just couldn't bear it. The other side, my mother, she was brought up in the era of the Beatles. So, yeah, she always, she never really talked about music much, but she always listened to it, and I always heard her singing to certain songs that came on the radio and stuff, and that was fine. However, I have an older brother who's actually about to turn 50. But he was in the younger parts of my life, was the one who influenced my music in a certain direction. Obviously, I found my own way from a young age, but he was quite a big part of that. So my musical collection when I was 6 or 7 went from me proudly holding the first single I ever bought, which was Ant Music by Adam and the Ants, but yet still having Run Rat the album and the Fraggle Rock album as well, and loving them all dearly, because little child me, little child with some decent musical taste me, I'll let you make up your mind which ones I'm referring to as parts of that. However, my brother being at school, obviously, he got introduced to stuff that he went through. As I sort of progressed through school, my musical taste started being slightly influenced by the massive emergence. Well, the punk died in the sort of very early 80s. There's a bit of it around. And then we had the New Romantic era, Adam and the Ants and the Ilk. And then we had two-tone. Now, I know a load of American guys I've spoken to, a few people time and time again about certain bands that were kicking around then. You had, the biggest ones. You had Madness, and you had the Specials, and you had the Selector, and you had the Beat, Bad Manners. All these like epic bands, massive reggae influence. Kind of couldn't find their grounds initially in the early stages of it. There was a lot of punk reggae kind of crossover, but the crowds didn't gel. So there was a lot of problems between them in the early days, but somehow they kind of gelled through that, and out of it came, the ska movement, the movement that fled across the seas and influenced people like Rancid, Operation Ivy, the East Bay punk bands who had this ska influence to them, all came from this kind of East London sound. So earlier this year, there was a co-headlining tour between the Beat and the Selector, and I had the greatest pleasure of going. Sorry, bear with me, my phone was vibrating there. I had the greatest pleasure of going and watching. Now, it was the weirdest gig ever, because it was a lot of the original fans. So it's the one gig I've been to where I've probably been in the bottom 10% age-wise. However, a lot of people brought the kids with them. It was rammed, proper rammed, but there was no trouble. No one was hammered. Everyone was given room to dance, and it was just epic. Yes, okay, we're looking at two great bands who are past their prime, shall we say. They've been around for a while. They're not the band they were. However, most of the original lineup are there, and just epic. So I'm going to leave you with a tune from each. We're going to have On My Radio by the Selector, which is probably their most iconic song. And Mirror in the Bathroom by the Beat. So enjoy them. It's going to be 6 minutes of complete pleasure from the late 70s, early 80s. But do, reach out, enjoy them, and tell me they're awesome, because they are. And if you've never encountered them until now, welcome to the world. So I'm going to leave it there, really, because I've been rambling, because this part of it is 30 minutes, and the beginning part of it was like 20 odd minutes. So we're talking nearly an hour of me, and that's far too much for anyone to handle. So if you want to catch up with me at any point, I'm on Instagram as NitMonkey. I'm on Ravelry as NitMonkey. And you can, join the group on Ravelry, which is the Knit Monkey Podcast. Have a look at it there, and let's just come and chat, come and say hello, let me know what you're thinking, and I will see you all in the next episode, and hopefully it won't be another 6 months before that one comes out.